What is going on, everybody? Grayson here, Gundam Gambler, weekly market update, sealed product singles and slabs, over $250 USD. We're going to start off with sealed product as always. We have the Gundam card game, card set number 1. You get a playmat in here, some promo cards as well, 320 bucks there. After that, we have a lot of tournament kits. You also have some promo cards in here, some store tournament participation packs, $515. Nothing really crazy here, but I figured we would throw it in the video. After that, we're going to see a few cases. So Dual Impact, this was sold for about 1,200 euros, which is approximately $1,368 USD. This was coming from Germany. We really are seeing Dual Impact, Steel Requiem, and Phantom Aria, at least in Canada, start to dry up. There's a couple stores like HPW that are relatively cheap, but things are definitely moving up, right? That supply that a lot of these stores had over the past, let's say 5 to 6 weeks at this point, it is starting to dry up. So be on the lookout if you don't have any of these already and you are trying to add your positions. Probably better sooner rather than later. Phantom Aria case, 1,300 euros. That's approximately 1,481 USD. This does seem slightly high for a Phantom Aria case, but at the same time, I think Phantom Aria is going to be $120, $150, maybe even at some point this year. There's just too much value in the set. It's a great opening experience. The EV is still incredibly high, and the sell-through on TCG Player is insane. We're talking about 30 boxes per day currently, which is very, very impressive for Gundam. After that, GDO5. Now, people probably shouldn't be selling their GDO5 cases this early. You can see the seller in Spain has already sold 4 today. They have 7 more available. 13 total have sold. 1,500 euros. That's approximately $1,710 USD. If my math is correct, that's less than $150 per box inside. But even if you were going to buy this from North America all in, you'd be well over $150, which I think is a reasonable price to be paying for GDO5 right now. Stores in Canada that still have boxes available, they're asking for like 250 Canadian plus, and they don't have case quantity in stock. So once wave 2 hits, be on the lookout for that. Try and build your position then, because I think right now, if you didn't get pre-orders in early, you're probably going to be paying a little bit too much, in my opinion. And the final sealed item of the week, we do have GDO1. This is a lot of 4 booster boxes, $1,802. That's like $450 per box, and we're seeing New Type Rising get to around $400 on TCG Player. A lot of the top cards, the LR++s, even some of the LR+s moving up in price. Very expensive top chases as well, so it doesn't surprise me why people are continuing to buy GDO1, and it won't surprise me if we see these boxes hit $450, $500, maybe even more than that by the end of the year. Now, before we move on to singles and slabs, if you guys enjoy this type of content, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hype the video. It does help out a ton. We're up to 921 subscribers as well. So thank you guys so much for the support. Starting off this week with singles and slabs, we have Merida Cruz. This is a rare plus from GDO1, I believe. 250 or best offer. According to 130 point, it's sold for full asking of 250 bucks. After that, we have Overflowing Affection. This is an SP from Steel Requiem, which I believe the SP pull rates in GDO3 are a lot easier than in GDO4, but 255 bucks there, still decently expensive. I also love the SPs. You can tell them apart from other cards by this kind of silver sparkly border, and they look great in person. After that, Wing Gundam. This is an LR from, I believe, the beta box. Tag 10 and 270 bucks there. Not really too much to say. It's not one of the more expensive cards from the beta box in English, but still $250 graded. Not terrible. After that, we have a resource. This is from a store trial event, I believe, during the beta for Gundam. $273.99. PSA 10 pop on this is 136 and total population is 151. So very high gem rate on that. Afterwards, we have Soletter Mercury. This is, I believe, a new type challenge, like top 4 card, $284.99 there. Didn't take a super close look at it, but I imagine it's in pretty good condition. A lot of those top 4 cards A lot of the winter cards as well are selling fairly frequently at this point. Shenlong Gundam, this is an R plus from GDO1, $300 in a PSA 10, $299.99 if we want to be exact. After that, we have another one of these top 4 new type challenge cards. This is Ham and Karn. This went for, according to 130 Point, I believe, $300 ungraded. And I do think this is the way to go right now, by the way. If you guys are looking to get a lot of these cards in PSA 10 form, the current cards out there are selling for quite a large premium over the ungraded copies. I would recommend, because the gem rates are very high in Gundam, just find deals on the ungraded copies, pick up a ton of them, send off a bulk submission. You're more than likely going to get a ton of 10s. And I think for most people who are willing to put in the work, that's going to be the easiest way to go about things. Now, after that, we have Freedom Gundam. This is an LR Plus from Steel Requiem, $305 in a PSA 10. Then we have the Gundam LR Plus from New Type Rising, $316, currently pop 103 on that. And then afterwards, we have the New Type Rising Resource C++, Tag 10, $450 your best offer. According to 130 Point, it sold for $350 US. Wing Gundam, this is an LR Plus from STO2. This sold for $360. This is currently pop 41. Total population is 42, so basically 100% gem rate on that card. Then afterwards, we have O Gundam ungraded. This sold for $375. This is a store tournament winner pack card, I believe. I'm not actually certain if this is the only card you can get out of that pack or if there are other ones. So if someone knows for certain, definitely feel free to educate us in the comments down below. Afterwards, we have Gundam Aerial Rebuild. This is the LR Plus from New Type Rising. You'll see there is a trend in this video. $380 in a PSA 10 that's currently popped 257. Gundam Epion, this is from GDO2, so dual impact. This sold for $450 and PSA 10 pop is currently 217. After that, we have Sailor Mass, an R plus from New Type Rising. Obviously, a lot of controversy around this card as of late. $465 as currently pop 112. After that, Overflowing Affection, another New Type Rising card. This is a U plus, an uncommon plus, $680, and multiple copies of this card selling on a weekly basis. I saw a sale as well, I believe over $1,000. Now, I don't know why someone paid that much for the exact same card shown in this video right now, but a lot of sales in the $680 to $750 range. After that, we do have a New Type Challenge winner card. This is the Gundam Dynames, which I believe is from Mission 2 of this year. $1,000 OBO, and this sold for $700. And guys, you know, this is a terrible listing, obviously. If you've watched my One Piece videos, you know I always try and give you tips where I think it will help you in the future. So if you own cards and you're trying to sell them on eBay, first of all, take it out of the sleeve, but you also need to make sure that it's cropped properly, there's no glare on the card, and it's just, you know, make it well centered, right? Like, this is just not something that I think is super presentable. And sure, it's still sold for a decent amount of money, but there's been sales over $800, I believe, on this card. And I think if you took good photos of all the edges, all the corners, because a lot of people buying these, I mean, sure, some people just want them for their binders, their collection, whatever, but a lot of people will consider sending these off for grading eventually. So if you want to get top dollar, you have to show to people that what they're buying is PSA 10. It's a contender, let's say, for a PSA 10. So I digress. Moving on. Got about a dozen cards to get through still. Another one of these winter cards. This is Barbados Lupus. I believe this is from Mission 3 of this year, I think. Someone's going to let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But it is a New Type Challenge winter card. $900 US or best offer. According to 130 Point, sold for $800, which I think is in line with market on this. And this seller, you know, definitely does a little bit better job than the last seller. They're taking photos of all the edges and stuff. I was a little bit concerned about this front edge here, but I don't know. I think overall it looks pretty good. So people are willing to pay it, right, for these ungraded cards, which I think is incredibly interesting. After that, Gundam Aerial Rebuild, another New Type Challenge winner card. I believe this is from Mission 1 of this year. €800 or best offer. According to 130 Point, it sold for 775 euros, which I think is like $885 USD, in that range. Afterwards, we have Wing Gundam Zero. This is the LR Plus from GDO1, $1,110.51. There were multiple sales in this range over the past week on this card. After that, we have an LR Plus Plus. This is Zeong from Phantom Aria, $1,125. This is currently Pop 8. Ungraded copies are going for like $550, $600 right now. So I think, guys, if you want to just take a little bit of your time, put that effort into finding an ungraded copy, sending it off for grading, I mean, you're going to save yourself a few $100s than buying one of the first slabs on the market. That's how I would go about it, because we are still very, very early into this Gundam thing. Now, after that, we have Gundam Barbados First Form. This is from Dual Impact. BGS 10 pristine. We don't see a ton of Beckett cards yet, but $2,146. That's a pretty huge sale for an LR++. Then we have another BGS 10 pristine. This is First Contact from the beta box. 1,954 pounds sterling, or best offer. According to 130 Point, this sold for $2,156 US. So that's actually the conversion, I believe. I don't know how many pounds sterling it is, but that's a pretty large sale as well on a beta box card. Now, after that, Gundam Aerial Rebuild. This is an LR++ from, you guessed it, New Type Rising. $2,600. Massive sale. Very, very high gem rate on this card. You know, this is something that I imagine is going to be selling for $1,500. Eventually, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a $2,000 ungraded card. And that's not the most expensive card inside New Type Rising. That's actually going to be the Gundam LR++, which, just looking at this, I mean, an absolutely beautiful card. $3,500 or best offer. And according to 130 Point, this sold for $3,000, guys. $3K for an ungraded card that's coming out of a box worth $400 at this point. That's kind of like One Piece territory, let's be honest. And then you're going to have another LR++ that's probably $1,500, $1,600 in that range. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper right now. And then all the LR pluses that are in that $150 to $300 range, let's say, maybe Overflowing Affection is a little bit more. Like, it's very, very reminiscent to me of what we were seeing last year with some of the sets like Royal Blood, Emperors in the New World. When A Fist of Divine Speed came out, obviously that caught my attention as well. So I just think it's interesting to see how much value you can currently get out of a booster box. A few more cards here, though, before we get out of here. Overflowing Affection. This is from the beta box. This is a PSA 9, and this sold $6,669.69. Amazing price to bid there. PSA 10's obviously going for a lot more than that. Amuro Ray, this is from the Regional Championship participation card. PSA 10, 19, right? There's not a lot of these out there. $8,100. I think we had seen a sale at like 9K, 12K. So they've been a little bit all over the place. I guess it depends what people are willing to pay for this, but still very, very expensive. That is something we can all agree on. Then we have the Gundam LR Plus from the beta box, PSA 10, $8,100. This is currently pop 53. I can't imagine these pops are ever going to get super high. Maybe they crack 100 eventually. Maybe they even crack 200. Like, that could be possible, but seeing something like this hit pop 500 or 1,000, I just can't see that happening. So moving on, a couple more cards here. Wing Gundam Zero. This is obviously the big talk of the week. There were a couple of these that went to auction. I believe the back-to-back nights, July 18th and 19th. $20,988 was the more expensive sale, but the other one, $20,790. Really not too much to say here. This is Pop 62. It is interesting to me how these were both sold by Pokecolor out of China. They don't even ship to Canada, which I thought was interesting, but I feel like people in the States were bidding on this, so maybe they ship there. They just don't like us Canadians. It is what it is. Either way, very, very expensive sale to close out the video. I think that's great. You know, when I started making the One Piece market updates, very rarely was there an update I would do where there's a card over $10,000 that's sold. And it seems like every single time we've done one of these Gundam market updates, there has been at least one card selling over $10,000. And I don't think that's always going to be the case. There will probably be weeks where things are slower, but it's good to see that there is at least some level of investor demand, collector demand, whatever you want to call it, right? So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll do a video probably in a couple days. I'm trying to get out a couple this week for you guys, working on some PSA population videos. I think that would be fun. Also just taking a deeper dive at some of the alt arts in certain sets. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.